everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Emily, the Fang girl. I'm a tech millennial expat here in Singapore. I talk about tech in Singapore and life in Singapore. And today I have two awesome guests, Rob and Jenny, who are people that I've met on the internet. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves really fast?
So we're Rob and Jenny, and we started our YouTube channel a couple of years ago because we took a year out to go and travel all across Asia, Australia and New Zealand. And we fell so in love with the region that we ended up moving back here to Singapore, where we've been settling in for the last couple of months.
Mainly we just make videos of different places that we go out and explore around in Singapore, try and get out to different corners of the island, kind of see everything that Singapore has to offer.
And I think it's interesting because you guys have been here a couple of months, you're definitely like acclimating into Singapore and you've gone through the whole process of like figuring things out in this new country. And I've also been here for almost 2 years, so I think we can share our perspective on like advice we would give to new folks who have just landed here in Singapore. Do you guys want to start first, of like your first piece of advice?
Maybe not a piece of advice, but something to know and to understand about Singapore is that like it is very small. I think it's really important that like it's something you don't really realize. That people always say, oh, it's such a small city state. It's so easy to get around. So there's like upsides and downsides to being so small. And the thing that is about that is like you can easily get around everywhere, but also you maybe feel like you go and see everything. That's the kind of feeling I have about it. We're not there yet, but I don't know whether that's the feeling I'm kind of feeling like, oh, maybe in the long term, I've seen it all.
Whereas you would never have been like, I've been to every single place in the UK.
Yeah. For me, like I've been to all those like smaller islands around Singapore, like Lazarus Island, St. John's, Turtle Island, which you guys should go as well.
Yeah.
But the size of the country is, you can definitely kind of see everything quite quickly, but there's always like new interesting things popping up here and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think for me, something that I would say to someone that's like just arriving is that you should try and go out and make friends like straight away, because I don't think I realized how much having like a network and a community and a friendship group makes you feel at home somewhere.
Yeah.
So because of like COVID and all sorts of restrictions, it was quite difficult when we first got here to go out and make friends. And when we did start making friends, I actually used some apps. So I used like Bumble BFF, which I really recommend if anyone's moving here to download that and use it to meet people, because I've met a ton of lovely ladies on there. And now that I've like done that and gone out and met a few people, I'll go to neighborhoods and I'll be like, oh, this person lives here, like let's ask them for a good cafe to go to, or like I don't know, you have something to do on a Friday night. Just you put down roots as soon as you've made friends. And if you're like a little bit introverted or a little bit shy, I know that can be difficult, but it's honestly so important. And everyone is really, really nice. You're not going to meet any crazy people because everyone's just, it's very safe here. So
Yeah, I think you really have to like push yourself. And that, I guess not just for friends, but like everything. Like, it's very easy, I think, to move across the world like on your own, or even like as a couple, like on our own. And then you can easily just, you know, watch Netflix and stay inside. And if you push yourself that like first couple of weeks to like go out, meet people, see things, then you see new things and explore new things that you then want to go out and see again. I think that's like the best thing you can do to make sure that you're enjoying yourself here. You won't enjoy yourself here if you're not actually making the most of being here.
To tap on what you guys said as well, I think in Singapore it's not really the norm to just start casual conversations with Singaporeans, because to them you might be like selling insurance, or it's just quite strange, or it's a little bit like off that you would, you know, talk to people. So like in the US we would have like casual conversations with like a barista at Starbucks, or I would be like, oh, where'd you get that shirt from? But here in Singapore I don't think it's common to do that. So having like apps or facilitations, like meeting friends of friends, is a much better way of like easing into like a friendship or like growing a community.
if you wanted to make a true friend, knowing that you're both on that app or whatever to make friends means that it becomes less awkward, because you're not feeling like, oh, do they like me? Like, you're not worried about that, because you're like, well, they're looking for a friend too, so we're in the same situation.
We all need friends.
Friends are important. I think something else that I mentioned is to bring more clothes than you think. Maybe if you're already in a hot climate, this won't matter if you're coming from another hot climate, but we came from the UK where it's quite dreary, and San Fran similarly has like quite cool weather. So we're used to wearing clothes like, sometimes I honestly would wear like the same top for a whole week. Maybe that's a bit disgusting, but like you don't need to wash your clothes that much because you're not very sweaty, you don't get very dirty. But here we'll generally wear a top and then like that day have to put it in the wash. So it means you just need more. You either need to do washing constantly or you need more clothes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wear multiple t-shirts in one day because depending on what you do, you go out and walk in the heat and you're like, well, I've got to take this off and wear another one for the rest of the day. So yeah, you definitely need more clothes, and I have many, so this is really pertinent to me.
For me, like I would shower sometimes like twice a day in that sense because it's just so humid.
Yeah.
But also here in Singapore too, I've been thrifting more because there are people who have nice clothes, but maybe they don't want it anymore, and then they'll just like send it to like a thrift shop. A good one in downtown that I would go to.
Okay.
Buying like secondhand clothes in Singapore is quite nice because the quality is still really good. And
We'll have to check out that
yeah,
link.
I was like, I need to send it to you guys. It's Fashion Pulpit. That's what it's called.
Okay,
Fashion Pulpit. Yeah, it's near downtown. It's like the building that looks like it's from the Avatar. I'm so bad with names, but it's where like Facebook headquarters is.
Oh.
Okay. Anyways,
That's how your references are.
I'm so bad with like names.
On the subject of thrift shops as well, I'd also say if you're moving here and either you're going for an unfurnished place or you need to get a few more bits for your apartment, is to check out Carousel, because we've got a few bits from there. We've actually got this camera from there. We've got a coffee table from there, and like you can generally find, thank you. We can generally find some like really good quality items on there. I think especially if you're coming as an expat and you don't know how long you're going to be in Singapore, you don't really want, as lovely as all of the expensive furniture is, there's really no point spending all the money on it.
If you're then going to leave after a year or however long.
And it's nice to feel like you're rehoming something and it's not just going to go in the trash.
Yeah, agreed. And you guys have bought things on Lazada, Shopee, and then even like Taobao as well. What would you say is like your favorite website?
Day to day, probably Lazada. Like
okay.
I'm on Lazada a lot because they seem to sell everything. You can also like get your groceries on like Lazada Red Mart.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think we're both on Lazada like every day. Like maybe not buying something, but just like
strolling.
when Instagram runs out and then you need something else to scroll, you just scroll Lazada instead.
Because I think there's it sort of reminds me of an Amazon kind of equivalent, because there are like sellers on there, and like there will be like some like dodgy sellers on there, but you can find ones with good reviews and it's quite easy and simple to use. Whereas Taobao is definitely not easy to use if you don't speak or read Mandarin like us. So that was a bit more challenging. And I think Easy Buy and Shopee as well, I tend to find there seems to be more lower quality items on those sites compared to Lazada, but
yeah, sometimes that's true. I think mainly there's less range. And so like on Lazada you can get absolutely everything. Like so you can buy clothes, groceries, toys, gadgets,
furniture, everything.
Also, like just as a piece of advice as well, as like I guess in Singapore you can really have everything delivered to your place. Like I was buying groceries from like FairPrice. Like I would carry like 5 bags and I would just like carry it home and walk maybe like a mile home, and just like my goodness. And then someone was like, why don't you just use Red Mart? Like buy up to like I think it's like $50 to $80 roughly, and then just have it delivered at your door. I think just for the ease of convenience, like just understand that things can really conveniently delivered to your house sometimes in a day or something.
Yeah, I know on Amazon Fresh, if you're like an Amazon Prime customer and you spend over $70 or $50, I can't remember the amount, then it's free delivery within 4 hours or 2 hours. So like that day, and you're like, well, I mean, why would I bother going to the shops if I can literally just get someone to bring it to me?
Maybe bad for our health though. Like maybe this is going to be the detriment of our fitness because we'll never leave the house to go and like do anything.
You're like, everything just comes to me.
Yeah, exactly.
I think also something to note is that there's an app for everything in Singapore.
Yeah.
Like you need to have space on your phone for the like 1,200 apps you're going to have to download because everything has its own app, which I just found. Like I'm used to going on a website and like doing things on a website.
Well, I think it's design work because then they send you notifications 5 times a day.
Yeah.
Like from Shopee.
That's why we end up on
Shopee notifications on my phone all day. Just all I hear is like Shopee, Shopee, Shopee. I'm like,
That's guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
They're like triggering so that you like buy more things. Grab delivery is very convenient. Have you guys used that yet? Grab
We've
delivery?
received things, but someone else has sent hers from it.
Okay.
Grab Express, is that what they call it? Yeah.
Something like that. It's like if you don't want to go across the country to send something, then you can just have someone to pick it up for you and then deliver it on your behalf. Yeah.
We did a similar thing with Lala Move.
Oh, okay,
Because we bought a few things from IKEA.
Yeah.
And when we were like exiting IKEA, we were like, how are we going to get all this stuff home? And then there was like a lady in IKEA that was like, download the Lala app. And then we like sat in a little van. Like, I don't know, like, I just love that.
Yeah.
Like you would have an IKEA in London, but I guess everyone in London would have a car. Yeah, be prepared to not have a car.
Yeah. Yeah. Just take public transportation or Grab. Should we talk about Singlish actually? Do you understanding Singlish?
I think I didn't realise, I'd heard of Singlish before we came.
Yeah.
Like I knew it was a thing, but I didn't think I knew how much it would like change my understanding kind of thing. Like I would sit next to a group of like Singaporeans in a cafe and they'd be all chatting to each other in Singlish, and it honestly to me sounds like they're speaking a different language. I can pick up like the odd word, but I could not tell you what their conversation was about. I mean, if one of them needed to talk to me, it wouldn't be like they would then be speaking this foreign language, like they would just switch to kind of like English or whatever. So like in a cafe it's like no problem, but sometimes like I know some auntie at like the food centre will like say something to us and we're like, I'm sorry, what?
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, just we have no idea. And also sometimes I think maybe it's like a British accent, I don't know if this happens because you're American, but sometimes I'll go to like a food centre or a shop or something and I'll ask for a product and they'll just be looking at me like, what are you saying? Like, are we speaking the same language? And I don't know if that's like
water.
The way I don't know if it's the way we enunciate it is like a bit strange or something, but because obviously like the pronunciation of words is very different. So I don't know if sometimes people are like a bit confused.
That happens to me sometimes as well. Even with like because I guess American accents are kind of flat sometimes. But what I've been doing is like saying numbers. I'm like number 5 or like like so that way it's like there's no confusion.
Or you find yourself saying things in like a way that is like isn't natural to you,
like in almost like a Singlish accent.
Like you'll be like table for 2, like can, and I'm like I would never say that, but like it like means everyone's understanding each other.
Do you think there are words that you now use or phrases that you say having lived here over a year that are like Singlish phrases?
I say can, or like can, or I don't even know if I'm pronouncing this right or like saying it right, but like walawe, it's like oh my gosh, or like, wow, you know, or like walawe. Yeah, I think I was like trying to perfect it for a while. So sometimes when I see my Singaporean friends, I'm like, am I saying this right? Or like, does this make sense? Or like my Singaporean housemate says alamak, which is like, we're like, oh my goodness, alamak. But I have like sometimes because I can speak Mandarin, so I'll transition from like English to Mandarin, and then it's almost like okay, we then that's completely fine. The communication is fine, but I do want to pick up more Singlish. It's just finding someone patient enough to teach me.
It's so true. I think it's something that's so kind of natural as well. So like, it's hard to like force it, if you know what I mean. So it has to come.
Some of the people in my office, they speak Mandarin at home with their family. So then when they talk to each other, they speak in Mandarin, but then every few sentences they'll speak in English, but it'll be Singlish. So then I'm always a bit confused whether they're speaking English or Mandarin. So I always ask them, what was that? Were you talking to me? No, I was talking to it. So it's a bit confusing sometimes.
Do you guys have Singlish words that you use, or like are you guys learning Mandarin or little things?
I think the only one we really use would be can. Because like it's just so and also the way here, I don't know if it's necessarily Singlish, but you know you'll go to a bar or something and it'll be like cocktails on 1 for 1. When I first got here I was like 1 for 1? Like obviously you buy one and you get one, like that makes like But
Buy one,
obviously,
get one free.
in the UK, yeah, it'd be like buy one get one free, or like buy one get two.
Yeah.
But here, the way it's like 1 for 1, and you'll be at a bar and you'll be like, 1 for 1, like on the drinks, or you know, because when we've I've had it before when I first went out for drinks with someone here, where the communication was totally lost, and we ended up with like 5 drinks.
You're like, well, let's get to drinking.
Because we were like, it's on 1 for 1, and then they were like, yeah, and like this and this, and then she came back with like so many drinks, and we were like, what's going on? So yeah.
I think the one thing we do use is, and I don't know, it's right. So at the end of a sentence, so you'll be like, so we're going to go out tonight, right? And like, it just, I don't know, I think actually it's kind of like a lot of Singaporeans when they speak English will say like la.
Yeah.
But like right kind of works for me.
Yeah, or already.
Already.
So are you there already? Like,
already, yeah. So it's not really we don't use it properly, but like there's just some things that kind of work through my vocabulary. But also I think like dropping words, like you said, you kind of just like drop conjunctions in the middle of a sentence, and like, because they are actually unnecessary when you really think about getting the message across, and you just want to say the words that you think that would be said to you to make the communication as easy as possible. Yeah.
I know what you mean. Especially I think British people tend to like really like beat around the bush. Like we'll say like all of the words possible to like
We're
get
not
to
very
the
direct.
point. Whereas here they're much more direct.
Yeah, they definitely like cut out phrases in English. Yeah. Oh, one other thing too that I would advise is learning the actual pronunciations of certain places in Singapore. So like, you know, like Tanjong Pagar.
Yeah.
I would say like Tanjong Pagar. Or
Yeah.
I still say that.
Yeah.
We haven't learned all of them yet.
No, but like I was just saying it and no one corrected me
Yeah.
until a friend was like, you know, you're saying all of these words wrong, right? And I was like, oh my goodness, like.
No, I have it all the time because I think the same with like, it's like Bugis.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, is it Bugis or is it Bugis?
Oh yeah.
Or is it, and like Tampines or Tampines or like
Yeah.
Tampines? Like there's
Rotshaw or Rosshaw or
yeah.
there's a few different names.
Same with like Tiong Bahru and
Yeah.
like I kind of just
Like-
say it how it's spelled, but most of the time I'm sure that's just totally wrong.
Yeah. Or like Clark Key. I would like Clark Quay. I would advise to like know how to say the words.
Or
If you're speaking to Singaporeans.
Yeah,
if you're speaking
yeah.
to Singaporeans.
Like
Yeah.
when you're on the MRT, like listen to like how they say it.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a good way to learn.
Yeah, that's actually the best tip, I think. And the same did it in London. You did the same. You listened to the announcer,
Yeah.
and they obviously decided that that's the right way to say it. So my biggest piece of advice, actually, to someone arriving in Singapore, is to not be scared of like the different places and things that you can go. So what I mean by that is like coffee shops and like hawkers and stuff. Like, I think if you come from like a big city or another like country in Europe or US, some of the coffee shops look a bit sketchy actually when you first look at them, and you're like, oh, do I really want to eat there? But in Singapore it's like everywhere's safe, everywhere's clean mostly, everyone's nice and friendly, and you can eat anywhere and you can do anything. And I think it's really important that you just go for it, because it'll seem a bit daunting at first, but after the first time you've gone into a random kopitiam on a street corner, you realise, oh, actually you get some really interesting experiences, foods, people there. And otherwise you end up just like going to Pizza Express and Nando's and McDonald's, all the places you can go back home. So
Yeah, I think that on the same vein, to go and push yourself to do things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone, and to do that early on, because otherwise it's very easy to get caught in a bubble of just like other expats, or like so you're almost living like in the UK but in a tropical destination, or like in the US, and you know what I mean, it's very easy to get caught in that. So it's good to push yourself immediately so that you'll go out and like you'll meet make friends with like Singaporeans, and you'll go and like go to all of these interesting like food experiences, and just do things that challenge you, because that's kind of the whole reason you've probably moved abroad. So like you need to keep doing it.
Good advice. I love that. Yeah, I feel like both of you are very adventurous and just like very open-minded too, which is why this is great advice, and I completely agree in that sense. And I would just say, if you feel uncomfortable too, like go with friends, right? I mean, you can go by yourself, but if you're intimidated, like I think I was intimidated sometimes by like the aunties and uncles. I was like, oh, like I would just like bring a friend along, and at least you can do it together. And
Yeah.
there's like more fun in that.
Like laugh things off with a friend, whereas
Yeah.
maybe if you're by yourself, you might be like, oh god, did I just say something really like awful?
Yeah.
Or like, I don't know how to like go and pay. Like those little things that like make you feel a bit uncomfortable. If you're with someone, it's like no big deal. And
Yeah.
Maybe that's why your first piece of advice is almost the most important one, which was to try and meet people as quickly as possible, because it makes everything else like so much easier.
yeah, and also I think coming as an expat, you can have such an interesting experience because you can meet people from all across the world, like people that have had such interesting lives, and it almost inspires you to make sure that you are having a really interesting life.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had that experience, but you meet people and you're like, wow, like I thought my life was cool, but like they've gone and done all of this stuff, so like now I want to go and like do all this other stuff. Like it's quite inspirational.
Yeah, and I think both of you are actually like the epitome of that, of like what you just said. So definitely check out their channel and like follow along on their journeys. Like you guys have traveled quite a lot as well, and now you guys are in Singapore, and I'm sure like the future will hold many more adventures for you. But for now, you guys are stuck here with me. COVID, so great. Love that we got to meet through the internet. I like to just reiterate that because it's
Through
great.
the internet.
Yeah,
Through
through
the
the
internet. Thank you, internet, for bringing us together. And that's actually something quite unique about Singapore
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah.
You can
Yeah,
like
we should talk
meet, you
about
can
that,
like
yeah.
meet someone on Instagram. Like you
Yeah.
can follow someone and be like, "Do you want to get a coffee?" And
Yeah.
they probably will.
Like Ken.
Okay.
Ken. Yeah. But anyways, if you guys like this video, please subscribe to my channel and their channel as well. Rob and Jenny, follow their channel. They're awesome. I hope to see you guys soon. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.